So what percentage of parents feel guilty when they shout at their child? The answer is 66%.
First, though, a subject I know a little bit about, as I was both shouted at as a child and smacked. I liked it. I deserved it. I'm not complaining. Is shouting the new smacking? Is losing control of your voice as shameful or even more shameful than letting go physically and giving a whack? Is shouting a sign that you've lost it? If you saw someone smacking their child in the street, you might be shocked. But what if you heard them screaming blue murder at them? Would that be as bad, as worrying? According to research carried out for the latest parenting book, The Mummy Coach, Sexist, 9 out of 10 parents shout at their children more than they want to. While experts agree we are shouting at our kids more than previous generations did. Possibly, in fact, I would say almost certainly, because we don't smack them anymore. But according to Professor Stephen Scott from the National Academy for Parenting Practitioners, truly, that is nothing to be proud of. He says adults underestimate the effect shouting can have on children. A little bit is fine, he says, but too much can not only terrify the child, but can also damage their self-esteem, just as a smack would. Well, boo! Well, an American study last year found that 2/3 of mums and dads feel more guilt shouting at their child than any other negative aspect of their parenting skills. So if you can't smack them and you can't shout at them, what are parents supposed to do, Gail?
You talk to them. I've never smacked my daughter. I've never shouted at my daughter.
You are... Can I just say this on the radio? You are horribly reasonable as a parent.
I am quite... Yeah, but she's very... You've met Honey. She's ridiculously cool, and she will talk to you. And I've seen some parents at her school and shouting at their kid, and I actually get a bit... Oh, I don't like it. I really find it uncomfortable.
Would you find that more uncomfortable than seeing a parent smack a child?
No, I think both. I think I'd be upset with both. I don't like seeing people raise their voices at children, and I don't like seeing anyone hit their children. So I was never hit or... Well, yeah, I was shouted at. Yeah. But I wasn't the best kid in the world. But Honey's very... I think, you know, nowadays you learn, and I talk to her as a little mini adult, and we discuss things. And
I do think you're lucky, and you're certainly... I know lots of other parents that seem to have more frictious relationships with their children.
Yeah, no, I've just got my little best mate, so we talk about everything. But no, I hate seeing people shouting at their kids in the street. I find it really disconcerting, and I just think, I don't like it. I wouldn't like to get shouted at.
OK.
I'd rather get smacked.
Philip, can you understand why there's more shouting going on at children?
Well, I can. I mean, the whole smacking thing now, it's socially outlawed, so it makes sense, but it never worked for me. I was smacked and shouted at, and I would just tune out. I became deaf to it.
It's the Croydon thing.
It's the Croydon. I went and did the other thing. I did the completely, you know, do this, I would do the other thing. But there's another way to talk to kids. As you say, you get into their space. I'm not a parent, but I have godchildren. I teach kids. You know, I do voluntary work with kids. You get in their space. You make eye contact with them. You talk to them as a young adult.
But not on a plane. Never on a plane.
And my experience, I haven't had a problem. You have a dialogue, you have a conversation with them.
God, I must have a very short temper, because I can honestly say that, you know, I can feel my... I've been in situations with some of my breeder friends, and their children are out of control, and I can feel my temperature rising, just watching them struggling to regain control. And the idea, when a child is running riot in a restaurant, say, that you can have a quiet word with them and bring them into line when they're rushing on sugar or whatever.
Don't give them the sugar.
Don't give them the sugar.
Says a lot about their parenting skills.
Yeah.
And I find that if ever I've shouted, or I'm in a situation where I've lost control of my temper, it's about me. It's not about
the kids. And that's what this report is saying, is that we feel so guilty about that. Dave?
I was certainly hit as a child, and it didn't do me any harm, and I'll hit anyone who says it did. You're always setting an example for your children, aren't you? Whatever you do, you're always setting an example. And I was hit. I've got 3 brothers, including my twin. If one of us was naughty, and Mum, I love you to pieces, but she used to bang our heads together. And if only one of us was naughty, whoever was nearest got the head bang. But everyone says, oh, it didn't do me any harm. But at the same time, if you go back through the generations, it was always worse for the generation before. You know, my mum was caned when she was at school because she was seen walking through the street with a sailor. The fact that sailor was her brother was not mitigating circumstances, and that discipline has always changed and moved on, and society changes. And clearly, I've seen kids being absolutely terrified by their parents in the street near where I live. And you can see the fear on their faces, and that can't be a good thing.
No, but I would used to imagine a parent going, "You just wait, I'll get you." In a non-shouting way, it could be just as scary.
Well, it could be just as scary, but I think maybe terrorising your children is wrong would be a simple way of moving from there.
So what can you do with them?
For me, the silent treatment worked. To be ignored. I didn't like being ignored.
OK. Kirsty, what do people say at home?
First, we've got Pauline on line 1.
Pauline, good morning.
Hi, Matthew.
Do you feel guilty when you shout at children?
Not at all. My daughter deserves it when she gets shouted at. It's never a case of I will just shout for the sake of it or because I've lost my temper. It's a case of I shout at her once so that she can hear it, so that she knows she's done wrong. It's that simple, you know.
So you're saying you don't lose control, but
Nope.
you do raise your voice.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So you're consciously raising your voice, but you are calm inside.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah. If I'm losing control, she'll go to her room instead, because there's no way I'm going to shout at my child just because I've lost control to make me feel better and then have guilt afterwards. There's no point in that, because that just is going to cause her trauma later. You know?
Yeah. And do you feel much guilt as a parent when it comes to disciplining or controlling children?
Nope, because kids need discipline. Kids need their boundaries. It's that simple.
OK, I mean, there was a fascinating article about 2 weeks ago which said that actually not smacking children, they found children that had been smacked. It was a survey or a poll in Michigan, and they found that children that had been smacked, likely up until the age of 6, tended to have happier, wealthier, healthier lives, future lives, than those who weren't smacked at all, which, of course, turn the smacking is bad for children.
It's one of those things where the parents who could handle responsibly smacking their children, there is probably a way in which that is not an unhealthy way to bring up a child, are the parents who understand parenting, who can also bring up children perfectly well without it. The parents who don't understand parenting, the ones who can't discipline their children without smacking, would also get smacking wrong.
Yes.
They would also damage their children. They're the ones who would lose control.
So it's not black or white. Thank you for that one, Pauline. Let's have another.
On line 3, we have Sean.
Sean, good morning.
Hi, guys.
Hi there. Are you a smacker, a shouter, or just really calm and cool?
Well, I actually work in a day nursery.
Right.
So obviously we're not allowed to smack or shout, and therefore you've got to find other ways of disciplining the kids. And for me, personally, it's all about balance.
You put them on a very high building and you see if...
Well, I mean, we've had some difficult... I deal with 4 to 5-year-olds, and we've had some very difficult children.
I bet.
That we've managed to actually calm down, and the parents have even noticed an effect of their behaviour.
So, come on, what techniques? What do you use?
Well, to be honest, instead of raising your voice, just use a stern voice. One that's different to the one you'd normally use, but isn't necessarily shouting. So the kid knows, OK, I'm in trouble now because Sean's using his teacher voice, if you like.
Right.
And it's got to the stage now where some of the kids, if they're doing something wrong, all you've got to do is look at them and they stop.
OK, I'm hearing people say yes to that in the audience. So just an evil eye can do it.
Well, I think it's about having discipline from the start. If you're consistent with the discipline, and it's from an early age, then you gain the respect of the child, and
You make it sound ever so easy, Sean. You really do.
Well, I know it's obviously easy for me to say this, as I do work in a day nursery, and that is actually my job, and I'm not out shopping with the kids, etc. But I mean, literally, if you implicate it from an early age, set the boundaries so they know who's boss, and they know when they've done wrong, and they realise the consequences, then, it's kind of drilled into them, if you like.
OK, more evidence from all you guys, then, that I should be kept as far away from children on planes or not as humanly possible, without a doubt. Listen, we've got to take a break. I can't believe the time has gone so fast already. Dr. Miriam's still to come, but first it is goodbye to this morning's panel. Philip, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. It really has.
I love the show.
I love your survivors as well. It's a tip-top programme. Best luck on that. It's on Tuesday evenings, but not tomorrow because of the football.
9 p.m.
OK. Gail and Dave, great start to the week as expected. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Ladies and gents, give it up for our wonderful panel. Thank you. After the ads, Dr. Miriam on how to survive the big changes in life. She's named a few of them: babies, affairs, jobs, sudden weight loss. If the world has suddenly collapsed underfoot, expert advice is just a phone call away. 0207 173 5555 is the number, of course, if you want to work with Dr. Miriam. And no, you don't need to use your real name if you don't want to. Big changes and how to survive them with Dr. Miriam after these ads. Don't go away.
Which of these is considered the biggest life-changing event? Getting married, having a baby, or moving house? Find out in 3.